Welcome to Inclusion Influencers, brought to you by the National Alliance for Accessible Golf. Our goal with these interviews is to highlight the people and organizations in the game of golf that are making a difference in the lives of individuals with disabilities. This includes golfers out there leading the way by showing others what is possible, organizations that dedicate resources and facilities to bring people into the game, and others that support, educate, inform, and perhaps inspire you to learn more and get yourself and others involved. Golf is truly a game for all abilities. Our August inclusion influencer is Larry Celano, a well-known competitor in competitions around the country, well, actually around the world, who established the Seated Golfers Association in 2023, which we're going to talk about today. I met Larry soon after I came to the National Alliance, as it was simply impossible not to migrate towards the energy and passion he brings to his game and life and the positive effect it has on anyone fortunate enough to know him. Larry, welcome to the show.
Man, thank you for that introduction, man. I could tell people, I'm just being me, having a good time. I love golf. I love people. So it's just a natural thing that this all comes together. So thank you for having me. I look forward to it. I really respect you, Dave. You've had some good conversations with you, and we've worked out some good stuff. So I look forward to this interview more than I've looked forward to any other interview. So let's do it.
All right, I appreciate that. As I've told people several times during the Adaptive Open up in Rockville, which we'll probably touch on later, I said, you always know where Larry's at on the golf course. You always know where Larry's at, and all good. So, I'm a retired Navy person, as you know, and loved my time in the service. And you took a path with some time in the service, and before you got into the golf game. But before you ever swung a golf club and put on your Army uniform, what was it like growing up, and what drove you to your decision to serve?
Well, I mean, I thought about this for a little, because it's just a natural thing. I grew up in Connecticut. My family they worked for Mossberg, so we were always into the hunting and all that. And then I consider myself a loyal person. So if you get to know me and I get to know you, you got my loyalty until you cross that. And it's just everything I've done always been a loyalty. Like, I know the fight song to my high school. I know the national anthem. I know my fight song to. So I'm just a loyal person. And just growing up playing, because we had the little Army guys, we played that, and I did all that, and it just naturally came. My thing was I was going to join the Army at a young age. My goal was, I made it to 18. I joined the Army to allow people to become that person. I'm a soldier at heart. I'm always looking out for the better of the whole. And that's why adaptive golf to me just came naturally with all this, because I believe in the greater good.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you teeing that up. And so we're going to get into some golf stuff pretty quick, but I briefly want to touch on certainly a moment in your life that put you on a direction that you probably didn't expect. You joined the service, you were doing your service thing, and who knew what you wanted to do after that. But you were involved in Panama, and in December of 1989, during Operation Just Cause, your life changed a bit when you sustained some combat injuries. And that might not have directly led to golf, but just for our listeners, if you're comfortable sharing a little bit about that, what do you remember about that time? And then the immediate aftermath of it sets you on a different path in your life. What would you say about that?
Well, I always tell people, like even the younger kids and all that, I wouldn't have got through this without my family. I had great family support. I had friend support. I had the country behind me. It was weird because we came through the Vietnam where they treated the soldiers like crap and all that stuff. And then here I got shot. And one of the best stories that I remember talking to a couple of the nurses and stuff there at Wilford Hall in San Antonio was that they were getting ready to go on Exodus leave. Exodus leave is your big time of the year. And they knew we were invading Panama. And they all said we were staying back to make sure we help the wounded get with the care that they needed. So that was one of the first times I realized how great a country we live in. These young kids who had the chance to go home with their families, they stayed back to make sure that their fellow comrades were taken care of when we got hurt on the battlefield and got there. So that's the thing that drove me and moving forward.
Yeah, I love what you said there. As a matter of fact, that's one of the better ways, one of the better things I've heard in a long time, where you said you had the country behind you. I think it's such an eloquent way to say the way that you felt about what you were doing. So I really have a great appreciation and respect for what you said, and of course your service, and the fact that I've even got an opportunity to have a conversation with you here in 2026 about the great game of golf and some of these things that might not have been on your horizon at that particular time. There might have been some other stuff going on, pretty sure. So let's get it back in that a little bit. Obviously, you're transitioning into a different life than you might have had planned, right? As someone who's now paralyzed below the waist at some level, and you got to do some different things in life, and it takes a lot of strength. I've had a lot of conversations with individuals that have had traumatic injuries and things like that. And there's unfortunately a fair share that don't move past that, and it's difficult. There's a lot of things that cause that's a whole different conversation, as you well know. But you have risen above and beyond to press on and press forward with what you're doing there. So obviously, I think you touched on your pre-service upbringing and your mindset and stuff like that. So let's just talk about mindset right now. You certainly had that mindset during recovery. So how did that transition into what you did immediately after that? And then when did golf start coming into play for you at that point after Panama?
One with me growing up in the 70s and 80s, it was hard. People made fun of people that were different. And that was my biggest fear when I got hurt. My biggest fear was going out in public and letting people see me as a half a person, half a man. I was 20 years old. I was a paratrooper, bitches. There's nothing. I was invincible. And then when those bullets hit you, it's a whole different thing. I remember when I got shot that I was just sitting there, and it was just, you just felt the pain there, the burning in there. So, but I had a lot of, without my family, the family brought me through a lot. They were there from the time I got hurt. I remember making the phone call to my grandmother and crying to her, saying, "You need to get here now. I'm paralyzed." And then she was there a day later, and that's what helped me get through this. I said I had so much support. I had fun. People think it's weird, but in the hospital, I had fun at recovery because I got to know the nurses. They were helping me through this whole bad time. But like I said, my biggest fear was going out in public. And what happened, when I got over that, there was two things that happened me get over that. One was the Bulls were in town. Because I was in San Antonio, and Sean Elliott played for, and I was a big U of A fan back then, and Sean Elliott played for San Antonio. And I was like, man, I would like to go, da 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 da. Well, one of the nurses, I called him Chief because I called the guys Chief, and I had my nurse was Queen. I call her Queenie because when I woke up that first time from getting hurt, she was right there. But he came up. He goes, "Larry, I got you tickets. You're going to see Michael Jordan and the Spurs tonight." And I was terrified. My dad was rolling me out, and I just remember that day. It was this people staring. They weren't staring at me, but just that whole mentality that people are staring at me. But that was one of the things. My first out in public, and then because I always had a psychologist and all that, the preacher, the pastor, always coming up. Are you right? And he goes, "When you're ready to talk, I'll talk." Well, it was a new day. And I called for the chaplain, the chaplain, the psychologist. And I had a little outdoor patio. And we went out there and I closed it. And Dave, I just started crying. I go, what am I going to do? Well, how do I get through this? I mean, I can't anymore. I can't. I mean, what do I do? How do I get through this? And he goes, "Son, you're going to get through this just like anything else you've done in your life, just like you did when you got through basic training and all that. And you will become that better person and all that." And those are the kind of that kind of got my shell worrying about going into public. Because you fast forward, shoot, I've accomplished by myself. I've been to 19 Super Bowls. I've been to World Series. I up into the point of golf because I used to be a big sport, going to sporting events and all that. But now this leads into the golf. Once I started picking up golf, and actually that first tournament I played at Jason's down in I think it was Virginia, and I mean that. Oh my God. I mean, that ever since then, I still sports, but not as intensely. Because the crazy thing is pros now. So it's like, you need to watch me now.
Definitely.
That's the kind of mentality in that.
Yeah, and he's playing around 2001, I think, give or take. Is that when you kind of started?
Correct. I picked up 2001. It's like his buddies were starting to play. Because I always thought golf courses were big, a waste farmland, beautiful farmland. Growing up in Connecticut, we were all farmers. My dad was a farmer, worked for but anyway. So I started picking up golf in 2001. So I just, back then when you had to search the internet, you didn't have Google, you had to search the internet. Well, I put adaptive golf in there, and lady Kathy Corbin came up at one of the city Phoenix golf courses. And I went out with, lessons, my wheelchair. I'd get out there, my wheelchair, hit. And I'd done that for a couple months or so. And she goes, the Skila down in Phoenix, they have a Solar Rider, which is adaptive car for people in wheelchairs. So I go there stubborn, Larry. I'm still on the driving range, getting up this big hill in my wheelchair, still setting the button. And the guy in the pro shop, you can never take that card out. And so I finally did. And like I said, the story first round was 127. So 2 months later, I hit my first hole in one. I hit my first hole in one before my first birdie. So that's and then it was just love. I mean, because when I heard, I never picked up on any other adaptive sports, but when golf came in my life, it was just natural fit for me because I love baseball and I love being outside and I love people. And it's like, that's my swing is basically a baseball swing, the modified baseball swing. It's nothing more. I've had people try to change it, and it's like, am I so unique that, if you have to see my swing and you know who it is.
Yeah, let's talk about it a little bit because, like, you never golf before your injury, so you have any good habits and you didn't have any bad habits. I mean, you had, right? And I think,
Yep.
interestingly enough, for golfers, as someone who's coached golf it's you're dealing with adults sometimes. You have never played golf who sometimes can pick it up pretty quickly. You have or children, and you have some that play younger and they still have a little bit of that fuel in their brains somewhere when they pick up a club again. So it's just interesting to see that dynamic. But not only starting to play golf for the first time, you were starting it from what we now say is a seated golf or a seated position. And so eh, folks are more familiar with that now than they might have been 10 years ago, 15 years ago, especially with some of the coverage that they used to get. Obviously, the U.S. Adaptive Open, some great tournaments around in the states now, golf associations. So if you say when you were starting to play golf, what was the toughest thing, maybe the top one or two things that in order to play from a seated position that might have challenged you, physical or mental or whatever. I mean, it's obviously for every golfer, but every golfer has that little thing when they start playing golf. They can't quite get over that little thing and they finally do. And it's like, ta-da, the lawn. So, was it particular that you really picked up quickly or that like challenged you when you first began swinging? I mean, you made hole in one 2 months you started playing, so obviously you're natural.
But that hole in one's luck, though. It just rolled up there into the hole. But there's a challenge. Just trying to hit the ball. And like I said, my coach Corbin, she was, because she's one thing she taught me, and she always said, because Larry, people are going to try to teach you. They're going to come out and do this. One thing I suggest is when you golf, put your hands first and then bring it back because that clears your knees. And that was one thing, and that took a little bit to get used to. What really changed my game of golf, and I remember, I can still see it right now. I was at Gila. I was on hole, like I think at 5. I had to go over this berm and all this. And I was playing with an old 300 cc head. And it's like hitting that, and I couldn't get the ball in the air. And then I found the 460 cc driver head. That
Nice.
changed everything. That made once you got the tee, then it was just a matter of working with irons and stuff. Because I never was really a great iron player. If you look in my bag, I got pretty much hybrids down to the 8. I got a 9 iron and a pitching and a wedge and a utility wedge, which I use for chipping. But other than that, we got that big driver head. Because my coach was talking the other day about this crazy stats I have with my driver. Like, there's great fairways in the 36 hole or in 3 rounds. I hit 39 of them.
That's awesome.
But I still shoot 84, 81, 81, working on other parts of the game. But once I found that driver head, I think that changed the mentality because now I knew. Because then I went to bigger fairway woods, and that's when I started. That's when I learned hybrids.
Yeah, nice. So you that hitting fairways. If I was to quote Larry Celano as far as a golf tip goes, I would say Larry Solano says that hitting fairways is key if you want to play on day 3.
Correct.
Excellent, excellent. All right, well, let's do this, man. That's awesome. Let's so you've gone from soldier, which you're still a soldier, always a soldier, man. Still a
Always,
soldier.
always,
You,
always.
you go that, you go to golfer, and now we've got Larry Solano, association administrator. Okay, association leader, the U.S. Seated Golfers Association, which I believe he formed in 2023. I remember having a couple of good conversations with you about that, and which I thought was just we really enjoyed speaking with you about what you were going to do because that is certainly a gap, I think, as far as representation group of golfers that is elevated, which I think is fantastic. So finally drove you down that path to go look. Okay, I've been a seated golfer for a while. You've been a seated golfer for as long as most seated golfers that are out there playing right now. There's a couple, Dennis and you, but
Yeah,
you've been doing this for a long, long time. Credit and congratulations on a great and continuing career.
thank
So,
you.
what light bulb go off with you that said, look, okay, I've got to do this seated golf association because why? What that drove you down to this organization and kind of what you to do with it? Obviously you just started, you've got a tournament coming up that we'll talk about in a little while, but what the role of the Seated Golfers Association as really doing?
Well, what it was is, because everybody, so we were just having all the conversations, and the carts were starting to become an issue. And then I hate to say it like this, but we just felt like that stepchild.
Hmm.
Like but we were that stepchild that, hey, they have extra carts and this and that. There's just a little extra, it's a little we're a little slower. So that's why I was like, well, and I talking to Eric Hatch and just talking to him, we needed to form, and because being in a wheelchair, I'm done having able-bodied people tell me what I need and what I don't need, and so this is just an extension of that, because we the cost is to because it's all about the carts. I mean, if we have carts, we can't play, as you know.
Right.
That's what's a driving force behind this, was to kind of together and work on a solution for the all that. So that was the main factor, is we just didn't have a say in what's going on, and so we're out there trying to help. Like, I got a grant from Christopher Reed. We have 3 carts scattered throughout. We got one in Arizona, one in Georgia, and one up in Illinois with Jonathan up there. So we're trying to somehow alleviate that, and I didn't know any other way. So a couple of us formed the Seated Golfers Association, and here we are 3 years into it. The 3 mark I learned with nonprofits was to get legitimized, where people are donating and starting to kick in what we need, and so I'll that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, Larry, we talk all the time. I've said this publicly, that you know the seated cars, the adaptive golf cars rather, they're the elephant in the room regarding their importance to the game. And we are just constantly just, encouraging owners and operators, look, we know they're expensive, and we're going to talk about this. We know they're expensive, but prices will come down and more people can start acquiring them, right? But if you can't get one, share one with another property. Just do something. Make the effort, as opposed to saying, no, we don't have that. No, we don't have plans to have it, because unfortunately that still goes on in some areas, although a lot of operators get it right. And so, with where you're out in Arizona, I know you play a lot of courses out there, and but beyond the cost and logistics, we've all heard the no place to store it, they damage the greens, all these myths that are going on with that. It seems like more and more people are starting to understand that those are simply not accurate, that it may be getting better, but take you for example, when you travel places, and people travel sometimes, you're going to research where you're going, what assets they may have there. Do they have a solo rider you might be able to borrow if you're not traveling with yours? I know you travel with yours, but if you're going somewhere. And so one of the biggest things we do, and maybe this is somewhere we can work together, is we just got to encourage and get more facility owners and operators to at least say what they have. Do you have a vehicle or not? Fine. If you don't have one, great. We hope you work towards getting one. But if you have one, make that easier to find out publicly, so when golfers who have that requirement know what they're getting into. So what do you kind of see in this space? What are some of your positives you may see in this area, and where are those big negatives that are kind of still out there that we all have to work on, as far as getting more out there, prices, etc.
Well, the positive, I'll start with the positive side, because I mean, like what the USGA is doing with the Adaptive Open. I mean, that opened up the eyes of the golf community. So I mean, that's a positive step in the right direction. You know, I think their policies is to buy a cart and then leave it at the course that after they have a tournament. Um, you are seeing a lot more talk about it out there. You know, you're seeing more, more carts out there and that. Um, I mean, the negative side. I mean, it's not really negative. It's Dave. We've had this conversation. I've
Yeah.
had a conversation with multiple people. This is just my, I mean, I've been at this for over 20 years. I'm not an expert. I don't know every answer, and it's not my way or the highway. But going through all this, because we had a conversation one time, and you said before you go to the PGA, have more than one solution. Well, my big solution to this, and like I said, by no means is it's the right answer, but I just think always is we got to have a hub concept. Um, there's no way we can sit there and expect every golf course to have one. But however, what we can expect, beauty yesterday was American Disabilities anniversary, so that was kind of cool for the leading into this. Um, the hub concept where you get 5, 10 golf courses together. You pool your money together. I say 10 courses, but like I said, everything is up to debate. It's just some kind of hub situation. Everybody pitches in. My thing is you pitch in. Everybody pitches in 5,000, 10 courses. That's 50,000. You can get 2 carts, 2 trailers, and then you advertise it, and then you can just bounce them around. No different than what the rental car companies do, because the rental car companies had this big lawsuits over the years, and they give 72 hours. 72 hours so they can get hand control. No different to the concept. I just believe that what this does is this just alleviates all the problems where everybody's saying, "Well, it costs this." No, it's a small initial fee, and then you have to have maintenance fees every year on it. And then if these things mushroom, and then boom, every area that has 20 golf courses will have 4 carts if they follow this concept. And then what it'll do is it's easier for, like, say, clinics, tournament directors, even people who travel to just go around and enjoy golf throughout the country. Um,
Yep.
and I will say it this way, because I would say there's key players that need to get in a room. We need the PGA of America. We need the USGA. We need the Golf Course Owners Association. We need the National Alliance for Accessible Golf. We need the Department of Justice. We need the seat of players, and we need the manufacturers in one room. And we got it. That's the only way you're going to solve this. I mean, I've been at this for 20 years, and I was in a lawsuit with the Marriott. We settled. Marriott got 2 carts at their 28 courses, and there's nowhere. You go and they're like, I don't know if they work, that kind of a thing. So if we just go out there and massively make them every golf course have one, all they're going to do is sit there and rot. However, if we come up with a concept of a hub, or another concept I had is have if you have a clinic place like we have Ability 360, somehow manage to help them with finances, let the carts stay there if they have to, and then just ship them out. But they're easier if they're at the courses. So I just truly wholeheartedly believe in this hub concept. It'll alleviate people trying to go out and sue, because like I said, when Dennis Walters held up that trophy in 5 years ago, that put the the golf industry on notice that, hey, there's going to be little Johnny's going to be out there. He's going to want to play, and the dad is not going to be that quiet dude, and he's going to go out there and force it. Because by law you're supposed to have access to these carts. I mean, there's a debate about this and that. But in reality, you should have access to a cart for somebody. So
Yeah, you're spot on there, and I agree with you completely. And I'm looking forward to hopefully with you and keeping the press on this, because again, hubs can be different sizes. They can
yeah,
just, but the concept of sharing an asset is what is going to move the needle quicker than anything in this space. Hosts like you said, different hosts. It could be a program, it can be a golf course, it could be an organization. But the concept is just get something, and you're exactly right with the ADA. We say this all the time, which is, yeah, the ADA doesn't, it says a lot, but it doesn't say that you've got to get an adaptive golf cart. But what it says is that you've got to provide access to the
yeah,
good services, and that's playing golf. And so we just say it's time to start not just reading between the lines, it's time to actually start acting on that and working towards getting a solution. So well said there. I think you're spot on there, and I think
But
um,
I'll just reiterate it. If we don't get all those players in a room together or some kind, it's just going to go on. Like I said, I've been at this. I shouldn't have said it that way. I'm sorry.
you should say exactly how you want to say it, man.
But it's just like I said. If it's got to come together. It's got to be community. You don't, because I learned a long time ago. If you go out and say, "Well, if you don't get this cart, I'm going to sue you," that puts the other people on the defense. We don't want to put people on the defense. We want them to realize that this is a good thing. I'll give one story on this, and then there was a guy. They're out hiking with the forest rangers and all the park rangers and all that. They're out in the middle of nowhere, right? And they're going, "Why did you put this a bathroom out here handicap accessible?" And what I call it, the ranger said, "It's not up to us who can get out here. We just have to provide access." And lo and behold, I mean, I don't know if it's true, but then all of a sudden they had some guy was bringing this dude who they were carrying this guy in a wheelchair. It's kind of, but so it just goes to show you that it's not up to you to say who's going to be there, but you have to provide access.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, let's do this. Let's touch base back to a little playing golf for a second, okay? Then we're going to kind of get back into your tournament that's coming up in October and go from there because obviously I know you love playing, so I want to definitely touch on this a little bit. And you're coming fresh off of at least the U.S. Adaptive Open, and it was a great seeing you there in Woodmont. I really enjoyed watching you get it around, and I really enjoyed watching you play on Wednesday, as you well know. All right. And so, you've said that it gets your competitive juices going again and made you feel alive again. You said earlier today that you're still Larry, so it's like, your identity really hasn't changed. You're just like doing some different stuff with it now. You're still Larry. You're still playing a lot of golf. And I do believe you got a few tourney victories under your belt. So what's the Larry Celano tournament record right now? How many wins do you have now going on here in this career you got going on?
Well, I used to win a lot more until Max came around, but that's a great thing though, because I love Max. I mean, what he's done is unbelievable. But no, I think I won a couple every year. This year, let's see, this year I won one. Yeah, I win like one or two a year, so I'm happy with that. I
Scotty
I
Scheffler would be happy with that, I think.
I like I said, this year was an amazing year for me because I was struggling at the qualifier, and I know coming in, I knew I had two birdie holes coming up, the last two holes, and I had a birdie them, and I almost chipped in 17 for an eagle. It was a tap in birdie, and then the helicopters came and they postponed it, so we had to come back the next day. Everybody had to come back the next day to play one hole, 18th hole.
Mm.
And I was talking to one of the guys, one of the caddies for somebody else there. His name is Dave. And we were actually Dave's not here, but we were talking. I was talking, "Hey man, you want to come on my bag, for the last hole?" But he goes, "Larry, you don't need me. You're going to go out there. You're going to put the ball in the middle of the fairway. You're going to put it on the green. You're going to make the putt." I'm like, "Man, I love you." So anyway, I go out there, hit my shot. I laid up because I didn't want to bring the water into play, and then I chipped it up, and I had a 40-foot putt. And Dave, lo and behold, that baby fell and dropped. Oh God, that was one of the greatest feelings. I mean, just to make a putt like that to qualify, and then
That's
fast
amazing.
forward to the Adaptive Open, last hole. I didn't know where I was at. I had a 35-foot putt, and to come to find out, sinking that 35-foot putt made me make the cut, and it was just like, I mean, it was just the most amazing feeling in the world to know that, under pressure with everybody watching, you could actually go out and drain that putt.
That's
Uh,
awesome. That's just good. That's good, clean living right there, man. That's just
yeah,
good, clean living. Get you those breaks every now and then, right? Well,
yeah,
to your point about, Max coming along, and you know, what Max is able to do in his awareness of golf, I like to look at in this context, okay? If you take what Dennis Walters has been doing for 50 years and what you've been doing since, at least 2001, and there's other golfers that have been seeded golfers, between that, Tom Houston, who
oh yeah,
created,
yep. Know the
right?
name.
So they've been out there, but not at a level that, you know, was exposed enough where I think people could see what is possible, I guess, right? And so, to be honest, Max is a byproduct of the work that you've done playing and being a public figure because you are, and what Dennis has certainly done. And so, just remind Max of that next time you need to put him in his place that, you take full responsibility for his game. I'm sure.
Sounds like Max, when you get an interview, hey, you got to mention Larry.
That's right. I'm sure he will.
So,
But so anyway, so I'll ask you one more question generally in this area, but you kind of already touched on it before. Beyond the person, you do some team events as well. There's some great team events out there that you participated in. Just want you to touch on a couple of those if you can, real quick, for the audience who might not be aware of some of these things that are going on, and then we'll kind of move into your October event.
okay. Yeah. Oh, well, I participated in two Phoenix Cups, which is kind of a Ryder Cup thing. Um, I love team golf. Team golf to me is, I mean, one bad hole doesn't mean anything. So, but the camaraderie with that whole Phoenix Cup team is, it's a lifetime. I mean, I run into a lot of the guys like Bob Gorman. I mean, we became really good friends just over this team aspects. Then there's the Cairns Cup, which is another great event that just actually happened. I mean, we didn't do as well as we've done the previous two Cairns Cups, but yeah, team golf is a great concept. I wish we could do more team stuff because it brings in the camaraderie of the players. You're not sitting there trying to look at each other. Well, I got to beat you. No, you're all kumbaya, one thing, especially when you're under the red, white, and blue. I mean, I get choked up every time I talk about it just because going from being a soldier to be able to represent your country in golf is just, I mean, it was a dream come true. And then, I play really well. I think I'm 3-0-1 in match play in my career. So it's really, I actually know 5-0-1, I think. No, 5-1-1 because we got smoked one time, but no, I just love team golf. I wish there would be more events. I wish I'd rather play team golf than stroke play, but it's me. I'm getting
Well, I
old.
think
I'm
all of
getting
us.
old. The heart don't take but uh, so yeah. So and I had some really good stories on, like, I played in one Phoenix Cup back in California, and it comes back to the putter all the time. I was off the green, and I was, it's like maybe a 40-footer, but like 5 feet off the green. And now we were the last match, and everybody's up there watching and all that.
Mhm.
Dude comes up short on his putt and is like, ooh, ooh. If I make so anyway, I hit that. It's like, oh my god, that thing went in. It's like, it ends the match. Oh, here now I'm crying. My sister's there. My comfort blanket was there. My sister was there. I'm like, she's like, what just happened? Just hug me. I'm just like, just hug me. But like I said, it always comes back to the putter. I don't know why, but it does.
Well, that's true for a lot of golfers. So, but I think what I'm interpolating based on your match play record, what you're actually saying is that percentage wise, Ryder Cup wise, Phoenix Cup, Ryder Cup, your match play performance is better than Tiger Woods.
Yes.
Is that you standing? Are you standing by that?
I'm standing by it.
All
No,
right.
no, no. I don't ever mess with the goat. You
No,
put bad you put bad
no,
juju
no,
on me. No, I'm wearing the
no.
red
All
today
good.
for him. So
No. Hey, don't blame your next outing on anything we've talked about today, man.
uh,
You're the one swinging the golf club, man, not me.
that
Yeah,
is true. I learned that the long hard way. It's like, and then I'll just touch on one other thing that you were talking about with Max. What I'm learning though is he's pushing me to get better, and that's what it's all
yes.
about. And it's like because I tell people all the time, because they're like, oh, Max is dude, he's a phenom. We just all need to sit back, and that's what I'm trying to teach people is you need to sit back and enjoy it, because there's hundreds of CETA players that can't do that. He's the only one. He's a
Hmm.
phenom. I mean, you got to enjoy what this young man's doing, and to go from getting ready to go to college to play college golf, getting hurt, and then a year later coming out kicking my ass. I mean, that doesn't happen for spinal cord patients. Usually
Right.
depression settles in, or any of this other stuff. So what Max is an inspiration to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just wanted to touch on that because what he's done is just it's unheard of in the spinal cord industry, in the spinal cord world, because you go through these grievances and all that, and he didn't pick it up. That's the only reason why I'm touching on it a little bit more.
Yeah, well said, and I'm sure Max really appreciates that as well. So that's good stuff. All right, so let's look ahead a little bit. We got the big event. We got a big event
Uh,
coming up here in October. The Seeded
it's
Golf
September.
Association.
It's in September.
Oh, September. I'm sorry. So excuse
No,
me,
it's
September.
September.
My apologies. I don't know why I had October. I don't know why I was thinking it was in
Well, it's the
September.
last 3 days of September. October
No,
comes
that's
in.
what it is. So September, my bad. And that was a miss. I my research. I have to speak with my research assistant, who is actually me, on not writing down October instead of September. But so looking ahead to that event, you know, what's the field size up to now? What are you targeting? And you know, what are you really hoping to gain out of that event? Obviously you're going to get together and play some great golf and do some stuff, but tell me the inspiration for that and kind of, what do you see happening there?
Oh, uh, well, right now the field's at we're like 21, 22 right in there. Uh, you've got like 6 to 8 Europeans. We got Mariano coming from Argentina. We got Brock coming from Canada. We got I think we got 8 of the top 10 players, seeded players in the world coming. Um, I'm so excited. I This is a dream. I've been dreaming of this since the first time I played in Jason's tournament, just getting to know everybody. Um, my mind just starts out of it. There, keep me in line because my mind is just gone. I, when me, Ben, and Justin, Ben Brown, Justin Miller, we set out on this course. I, I didn't know what to expect. I did not know expect that because I've talked to you. I've talked to a lot of Jonathan Snyder. I've talked to Tracy Raymond. I've talked to a lot of people about how to do a tournament, how to do everything, and everything was the hardest thing to do is get a golf course. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
So I go talk to Whirlwind. I go talk to Shay over there, Shay McVeigh, which is the GM's wife, and I talked to her. I go, Shay, um, we want to have a seat of golf. Her face just lit up. It's like, oh, okay. When do you want to have it? And we were going to look in May, but then May there's a lot of tournaments and it could get hot. So we're like September, and then they put those dates in there, and they're. I mean, I'm just ecstatic. So now I got the golf course, which was supposedly the hardest thing. Me, the hardest part is raising money because I don't know how to do it.
Hmm.
I'm an accountant. I can count it. I just can't raise it. Well, so I'm just I applied for a bunch of grants, and then I woke up one morning, Dave, emails like, dude, I almost rolled out of my bed. I was like, I go, Lisa, I got a grant. I got a grant from Make Golf Your Thing. It's like, so once I got that seed money, that grant, that made it. I was like, oh my god! And then just going like another guy. I was on an airplane going to Sacramento for a tournament with the first USAGA net tournament up there that Tim Healy put on, and I'm on the plane. Big dude gets on. Man, my assistant screwed me over today. He used a different word, but screwed me over
Right.
today. Put me in the middle. So anyway, we're just chatting, and I was talking about I played dap golf, blah blah blah, because he was just he was in Scottsdale playing with the buddies and all that. Well, he goes, well, you got any information on that? Oh, man, we'll definitely help you on that. So I followed up, and you get on planes, you don't, you talk to people, people talk. Well,
Yeah.
I followed up with him, and I got a check, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now we're starting to roll a little bit now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, then another guy at the golf course, my home golf course, Whirlwind. It's like I said, small world. We're sitting there, and his name is Jeff Prentice, and he goes, Larry, how you doing? Because everybody asks me how I'm doing, and because I talk to everybody. But he asked me how you doing, and I go, well, we're playing in the tournament. I played in the tournament in Chicago. But we're in Chicago, and I go, Fox Ben. He goes, dude, that's my home golf course. I'm like, really? That's all you? Hey guys, do you need any sponsors or anything like that? I go, well, we're hosting the Cedar Golfers Championship here. So then I got down. I was like, oh my, and then so I was like, I'm sitting there looking at the bank account. It's like, I don't know how I mean, I don't, I mean, the whole goal is to pay for it all, but I don't think we're going to reach that goal. But I mean, it's here. I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy. But now to ask you, you asked the other question. What do I hope to get out of this? To me, the reason why this tournament is, first of all, to bring all the guys together, gals together, um, under one umbrella, and to show the world what's possible. Because we are putting this on without, I don't know how to say it. I mean, it's just wheelchair guys in wheelchairs putting
Mm-hmm.
this on for guys in wheelchairs, and like I tell everybody, the seated division is the most disabled of all the adaptive golfers.
Mm-hmm.
We in the golf industry or the adaptive communities want a little bit more out of us than they expect out of the other ones. So we're here showing them this is what's possible. Like I tell people, should put everybody on notice that, hey, we're here, we're not going anywhere, and you have to provide carts. That's the goal. The goal is to get the goal is to promote that hub, get that hub out there. So when these tournament directors do want to have tournaments, they just can round up the carts and not have to get them shipped in because the cost of everything is that. I already have my speech written out. I'm not giving any things. You know, there's going to be tears. There's going to be joking. There's going to be laughing on that. So get your tickets. No, I'm just kidding.
Now,
But I'm rambling. So ask another question so I don't so.
no, listen, you're doing the furthest thing from rambling.
Uh,
It's great information. Well, I was going to ask you just one question about the tournament. I'm assuming you've done this already, so I'm just asking. So, have you already engaged with local media representation there, representatives to be sure they know about this thing in advance? Because if you're not, if every news station in your town does not already know this event's coming, you need to be sure they know
yeah.
because
The funny story. Okay. Friday was media day. Wait, what's today? Today's Tuesday. Friday was media day. Because I got a guy, Nick King, Channel
okay,
3, great guy. He's done a story on me, won an Emmy on my story. Great. I don't know if you ever seen it. If you ever did, go look. That's one of my
I will go look for it.
that's one
Absolutely.
of my best. I reached out to him. So August 18th, I'm going on the morning show in Arizona. Um, I reached out to Andy Stevenson
Yeah.
to see about Golf Channel. Well, he gave me his contacts with his promoter. So I reached out to
Excellent.
her. So I don't know. I'm still waiting to hear back from that. I have AZ Sports out here, which is the online stuff. They're gonna come out like one of the Saturdays in August. And what I'm trying to do with both Nick King at Channel 3 and then AZ Sports is I'm going to give them a list of players and where they're from, and then they're going to try to reach out to those markets. Um, and then I have the local Channel 12 news here that I have to reach out to kind of do a story. And then the last little piece of that, and I've had a conversation with Tunnels to Towers,
Mhm.
and they seem to be willing to kind of help us market this. So I like I said, I don't. Dave, it's all like falls in place. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just know I'm just keep. Like I said, with Ben and Justin, I said we just keep moving forward, just keep going
Yeah.
forward. I don't because I mean everything's going to work itself out, and it's like everything's falling into place. The golf course. I mean, they're ecstatic. They're beyond ecstatic. You know, and if you get the golf course behind you, it makes it so much easier. Um, I mean,
Yep.
I had one last little thing. I mean, because I could talk all day. I had a guy reach out to me a couple weeks ago. His name is John. I don't remember the last name because did you open up the volunteer list yet? The volunteers. So I already got. I mean, and then like some of the adaptive players want to come out and help, and I mean, like Andreas is coming out. I mean, Ryan, she said she'll come out. I mean, it's just amazing just to support. When I got, I'm not going to cry on you today, Dave, but I got to the Adaptive Open and just the sheer outreach, it overwhelmed me. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I never in my life set out to do, and it's just, I don't, I get puzzled because it's just, I don't. I mean, I'm just ecstatic. I
Well,
said
it's going to be amazing.
it's just
It's going to be amazing.
I
You
it's
know,
just the support is just unbelievable. and I'll just leave it at that. I mean, because there's so many people uh, that I have to thank, but today's not that day. I'll do that.
Well, have you tapped somebody in your area as the volunteer coordinator yet?
No, that's what I'm still learning. I don't.
I
I'm.
would definitely, yeah, because and you're gonna play, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
tried. I tried to not play because I didn't want people at your home course. You're setting the course up. You're doing, but the overwhelming support is like you have to play.
yeah. Well, I agree with you. And as someone who's done a lot of tournaments in my days as a golf professional, as far as running events, and I'd say, I think certainly for this event, I mean, I would agree. You got to play, and so I think just a little friendly, unsolicited golf pro advice here: tap a volunteer coordinator and let them run with it, and then go from there, and then be sure that you've got a really good trusted agent, which you probably already do. That during the play of the tournament, you are playing golf. You're playing golf because it can be really
Yeah.
challenging to run a golf
Hell
tournament like
yeah.
this. You look at golf pros that do it, like when Tiger Woods has their events or whatever, they get pulled in a lot of directions and stuff like that. But I know you embrace that opportunity to do that and be involved. But when you're between those ropes, you got to stay between those ropes, and
Yeah.
you got a lot of stuff going on. So it's really really cool. Well, let's do this. I mean, listen, this has been uh, awesome catching up with you again, and I tell you, man, I'm not sure I can make it out there in September, but I'm gonna look at my calendar. But if I don't make it out there, I mean, just know that I'm gonna be paying attention to whatever's going on in the news stories and stuff like that. But it's always great connecting with you. So, we'll be sure to put this in the magazine. It'll go out, but just as a final message for any sponsors or players listening who want to support and get involved, what's the best way to get in touch with you? I mean, we can publish this, of course, obviously we can put your email out there, but what's the best way to kind of get in touch with you if people want to support you or donate to you?
Well, there's a couple places. We got a seatedgolfers.org, our website. On there has all the information on the tournament, and because
Okay.
we use Zephy for our thing because there's no fees or anything. Uh, you could reach out to me by phone 602-418-4855. You can email me at seatedgolfers at gmail.com. You could DM me. uh, I mean, you could drop a letter on my house and anything. I mean, I like I said, sometimes it takes me a little bit to get back sometimes. And I really don't, I really apologize when that happens. I don't, somebody takes the time to reach out to me. I'd like to respond to them within a day or
Yeah.
two, but
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't happen. Uh, but any of those avenues will be greatly appreciated coming out. And if there's any sponsors out there, we're looking for whole sponsors to kind of get through this. Naturally, if there's ever a title sponsor, we really need a title sponsor. But one last note I do want to touch on is one sponsor that is really dear and true to my heart is we got Burroughs Neurological Institute. We got them yesterday to become a sponsor, and to me, that's going to be the key because that's a hospital, and
Hmm.
we are their patients. So I'm hoping that sponsors will lead to not this year, but the next year becoming this yearly thing where we get all the spinal cord, all the people in wheelchair organizations out there together to make this a better event every year. So that's on the sponsor side because I got some good sponsors right now, but Burroughs will be the one that kind of helps us push this through in the future years because you need foundations, and we can get a good foundation to help us because we are, like I said, we are the most disabled and adaptive golfers. We need the most support because of the carts. Without the carts, we can't play. They are expensive. Uh, they're not out there as much as we'd like. And when they're out there, they're hard to get off a golf course to bring to a tournament.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are like on a final note, those are some of the things that we're working for in the future is to make sure that there's accessibility, make sure those carts can be used, and make sure there's um, training out there, and make sure there's clinics out there.
Yeah. Well, it's such good information. Your momentum sounds really, really good for your first event. I mean, it's a lot of really positive stuff and support, for your year one event. So I'm really, really glad to hear that and happy for you and the organization. And it's always great connecting with you. And and it's a reminder to me as far as what we touched on before we started recording. Um, you know, one of the primary reasons we do what we do as far as education, advocacy, and providing resources, the whole goal for me is to get the grant program going again for our organization so that we can get back in the business of supporting organizations like yours and golf programs around the country because that's what we did for many, many years. We had to pivot a few years ago when I got here. So everything we do is designed to generate interest so that we can dump money back into the sport that we get because, we feel like we've got a pretty good awareness of where it can be used and where it would be valued and where it will make a difference. And that's kind of what we want to get back on the horse with doing. So we're going to keep on keeping on there. So with that, Larry, it's your chance for any parting words before we call it a day here.
Um, what I would say is if there's anybody out there that wants to play golf, there and you think there's limitations, there is no limitations at all. We have, if you go to the USAGA, we have every type of we don't like to say disabilities, but we have anybody can play. We have all. There's 15 classes that you can fit into. Uh, we we don't sit. You don't need to sit on your couch anymore. You can get out there and play. It's a wonderful sport. Everything's growing. Um, and then one last parting gift to everybody out there. I love you all. Thank you so much for supporting us. It means a lot to me, more than I can ever show. So thank you for everybody. There's so many people to thank out there, but everybody has a piece in my heart that actually helped me get to this point. So thank you to the whole adaptive golf community, players, mentors, volunteers, uh, just everybody out there. Thank you. And Dave, like I said, I mean, you may not think it, but you are a mentor to me. You've helped me get to this point. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart as well. Thank you so much.
Well, that's way too generous, and I'm looking forward to staying connected with you. And thank you so much for your time today, and we'll catch you soon.